So this is Poland, and none of the 7 countries that currently border this nation existed before 1989. And the reason for this is quite interesting, and I'll get into it in a second. Hey Slavic Vikings, and in a nutshell, the reason for this is that communism fell in Europe. So Poland was the first nation in 1989 to have these open elections to disregard communism totally, and after that the different communist states in Europe started collapsing, starting with Germany, then the Soviet Union, then Czechoslovakia. So the reason why Poland doesn't border East Germany anymore is because East and West Germany united, forming a new state. After that, the Soviet Union collapsed, causing many new neighbors to Poland, including Russia in the state of Kaliningrad, which means that Poland indeed still borders Russia, despite having many buffer states to the west. And of course, Czechoslovakia split up into Czechia and Slovakia, causing 2 new states to border Poland. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the reason why Poland borders none of the nations it bordered before 1989. So that's the end of the video, you can click off. However, there's much more deeper context and underlying reasons for this phenomenon of changing nations around Poland. In this video, I'll go deeper into the individual countries that used to border Poland and now don't border Poland, the reasons for the disunification of some of the nations, and I'll just get deeper into the borders of Poland. For that, we will have to go to the very beginnings and start with the foundation of Poland in 1996, or around 1996 and 1992. Just kidding, we don't have to go that far back. Let's just start in 1945, the end of World War II. So after World War II, the New World Order was established, starting the Cold War, and this is how Europe looked like. So Germany was disunited, and half of Europe was communist, or almost half of Europe, and it's worth mentioning that these were obviously puppet states of the USSR. The pink countries here were puppet states of the USSR, and the red countries were just simply part of the USSR. And actually this map is not that accurate, since the Czech Republic and Slovakia was united during this period. So this map is not totally accurate, and actually I don't know why Yugoslavia is split up, that's also inaccurate. So it's kind of funny how this simple map just failed at giving accurate information. Okay, so I found this map which is much more accurate. You can see that Czechoslovakia is united, Yugoslavia is united, and it is very important that Czechoslovakia is united on this map, since that's the entire point of this video. All of Poland's neighbors, including Poland, were extreme puppet states of the USSR. They were such puppet states, in fact, that many Poles do not classify the independence of Poland until 1989, when Poland stopped being communist, since the USSR had so much influence and power, and its military was also in Poland. So many Polish people believe that the independence of Poland was only from 1989, when it started being truly democratic, and that is also what caused its neighbors to change form. Lech Wałęsa is probably one of the most famous people in Polish history. He's the one who led the movement. He was like a poor coal miner who just started the anti-communist solidarity movement, and throughout these years of extreme protests, which my grandpa partook in, by the way, Poland finally got its free democratic elections, which started the deck of cards, or whatever, the tumbling of dominoes that led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. And obviously this democratic overthrow in Poland is what directly caused the reunification of Germany only a couple of months later. So in the 4th of June, the Solidarity movement won the elections, and then only a couple of months later, the reunification of Germany happened. Definitely very much connected. And to me, it's fascinating that after World War II, Germany was split up into 2, and they had this big event of reunification, when literally the foundation of Germany was all about reunification. Why is so much of German history embedded in the essence of reunifying German people? I'm not sure what that means and why it's such a reoccurring phenomenon in German history, but I think it's kind of weird that Germany keeps splitting up and trying to build each other up again by reunifying the German people. So this wall here, which you could see that it took a huge part of Berlin. It was very, very wide, this wall. It wasn't just a simple wall, it was a whole military base that crossed all of Berlin, you could even call it that. So this wall collapsed. I visited it recently, which was pretty cool. And yeah, let's hope Germany doesn't continue unifying German people. And let's move on. And after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the unification of Germany, there was the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The communists understood that they were losing their grip over Europe, and what was his name? Gorbachev? Yeah, Gorbachev decided to reform the republics of Russia so that they're democratic and more nationalist instead of ideologically communist. And this caused extreme chaos in the USSR, with a bunch of neighboring countries to Poland getting their independence, including Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia itself, and Lithuania. So these countries now bordered Poland and seeked to have better relations with Poland, obviously. The reasons for the splitting of Czechia and Slovakia are not totally clear. I mean, okay, the reasons sure might be clear. Obviously, they're two very different national and ethnic identities. However, why the fall of communism caused them to split is less clear. Perhaps they felt the need for there to be a split nation in the region after Germany united. It maybe just felt natural. To be honest, the borders just feel and look much better. And at the end of the day, let's not forget that the concept of Czechoslovakia is kind of fake. It was created by some Americans in 1918, or not some Americans, just in America they've agreed to create this united nation after the collapse of Austria-Hungary. And the Czechs falsely claim that the Slovaks are somehow natural parts of the Czechian nation. This was kind of a silly idea, and the breakup was inevitable, and I guess communism was just the thing that held them together. So yeah, that's the reason why Czechia and Slovakia disunited. It's also worth mentioning that Ukraine, or the USSR, or Stalin took away this region right here from Slovakia or Czechoslovakia after World War II as a gift to Ukraine, since Stalin liked moving borders around. Before World War II, Poland actually used to border Romania down there in Stanisławów, which was pretty cool that Poland got to border such a nation, and now it doesn't anymore because of Russia taking away our land. But this entire video is kind of irrelevant in modern days, since nowadays the de facto borders are the Schengen area, like you can see here. This is the de facto borders of Europe, since there is no real border between Poland and Germany, Poland and Czechia, and Poland and Slovakia. You can just move along, also Poland and Lithuania. This is a de facto one border state. However, there are borders with Belarus and Ukraine. The ones with Ukraine are extremely important, since that's where most of the weapons and monetary funds and humanitarian aid, everything comes through Poland mostly. Obviously, there's different avenues for Ukraine to get help, like through Hungary, Romania, Slovakia and all that, but most of it comes through Poland. Since there's a lot of American bases in Poland, and the infrastructure is simply the best compared to the other bordering nations of Ukraine. So this border is pretty friendly, very active, and recently there have been protests in Poland, or I say recently, over the last 2 years or so, for the banning of Ukrainian exports to Poland, or specifically Ukrainian wheat. Since Polish farmers are like, why would we accept the Ukrainian wheat since it's worse quality and much cheaper? It's kind of boring. It's just farmers getting mad because Ukraine is coming closer to the EU, and Polish farmers might lose their jobs since Ukraine is literally the most fertile place on earth, and they're much more deregulated when it comes to the EU standards. But let me remind you, the exact same thing happened in Germany when Poland joined. German farmers got angry when Poland joined the EU, since they were like, oh no, they have cheap grain, deregulated grain, what will we do? But then Poland joined and they all just moved on. And I just believe that the future of Europe is one with Ukraine, and Polish farmers will just have to adapt to the new fact that Ukraine just is an extreme exporter of food, and there's negatives and positives to globalization for every country. But at the end of the day, cooperation is better, in my opinion. When it comes to the Polish-Belarusian border, there is a lot of recent controversy. Over the last years, Lukashenko has been sending migrants to the border. I've talked so much about it in other videos, there's no real reason to talk about it now. But in short, Belarus's government has been sending immigrants to the Schengen area border, which I showed a second ago. Where was it? Yeah, to this border here with Lithuania and Poland to destabilize the EU. It isn't really working, since Poland has been very hardlined when it comes to its border. It hasn't let anyone in, which you can see on this meme here, with just the Polish army setting up fences and stuff. You can see that this border used to be much more open and it just was like a forest, but ever since this big controversy, Poland has closed off its borders and is building a wall to make Poland great again. So when Hitler divided Poland with Stalin took Białystok and all of this land surrounding it and made it part of the SSR of Belarus, which kind of makes sense, since Białystok means white stock, what the fuck, mountain or something, but it's kind of similar to the name of Belarus. That's why, to me, it sounds kind of natural for white stock to be part of white Russia, Belarus. So it's kind of funny that it's part of Poland and we got to keep it. So now you know why Poland's neighbors has changed over the last decades. Please consider subscribing and liking and checking out the geography playlist for more similar videos. And as always, farewell, żegnam and goodbye.